DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. How objectivity became controversy. You all got access to social media. You have access to traditional media, news, whatever it is you use to get your information, whoever or whatever you get it from. It used to be, back in the days, something I talked about in episode 1474, the Work on Your Game Masterclass, some of you will call a podcast, that back in the days, the news would be really boring because all they would do is just tell you the facts. They would just tell you the truth of what happened. But the truth is pretty boring, and I did a whole episode on this. Is episode 1777. I told you that. The truth is usually not very sexy. Right? The truth is not really headline worthy. The truth is not really that sensational. The truth is not really something to get excited about. And the reason why it's not sensational is because the truth usually involves a lot of gray areas, meaning like, all right, this side, you got the two extremes of a story. The truth says, okay, some of the things this extreme is saying are accurate, and some of the things this extreme are saying are accurate, but the real truth of the whole thing is not on either side. It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in between the two. And that means, because of this, neither side can really say that they're quote unquote right. Neither side is that excited about the truth because it doesn't match what either one of them is really saying. And these days, you got all these extremes, right? You got the extremes that are saying this is 100% this way, and you got the other side saying it's 100% the other way. Neither one of them is right. The truth is actually somewhere in between the two. Is the gray area is not the black or the white. And here's what's happened: because so many of us have been indoctrinated by media, whether we're talking traditional news media, mass media, or social media, all of them put together. Because we've been so indoctrinated by this media, we come to expect that the news is going to give us the sensational side of it. It's not going to give us the whole story like they used to do back in the day. They're going to give us the sensational story that says it's all this way or all that way, the black or the white. So then if you or I come in and we look at things more objectively and we say, okay, well, look, a little bit of this is right and a little bit of this side is right, but the real story is somewhere in between the two. What happens is both sides get mad at you. Both sides will get mad at you because you said, all right, yeah, you're right about this part, but the rest of this you're not right. And you say to the other side, yeah, you're right about this part, but the rest of it, you're not right. They both get mad because you're not, quote unquote, agreeing with them. You're going against them. You're not going 100% with their version of things. And they get mad because you're not seeing things, quote unquote, their way. You're the one who's actually being objective because you're noticing the gray in between the black and the white. But because they only see the black and the white, you're the problem. You're the wrong person these days. And this is how news is. If you look around at the news, you look at somebody who kind of sees things in between. Somebody like myself, I see things in between. When there was a police shooting that happened, and doesn't even matter, there have been many police shootings, at least they get sensationalized. The thing is, the police shootings get sensationalized even though they don't happen as often as it seems the way the news put it out there. But when somebody is resisting arrest and then something ends up happening that they get shot, then I say, listen, the cop was wrong for shooting them, and they're gonna have to go to court at least to speak their piece on why they fired that gun. At the same time, the person who got shot, they did something stupid that put the police in a position where the cop ended up reacting and firing their gun, and they ended up getting shot. So the person who got shot did something dumb, and the person who did the shooting did something dumb. Both of them did something dumb. And neither side is happy with me. Neither side is satisfied with me for saying that, because I'm holding both sides accountable. And that's how it is these days. And you see anybody who talks this way, someone who say, all right, well, look, the Republicans wrong about this, but the Democrats wrong about that. Now the Republicans and the Democrats don't like that person. They say, oh, well, you just on their side. And the other side says, well, you just on their side. And I'm like, no, it's nobody's side that anybody's on. The side is the side of truth, the side of objectivity, the side of the actual facts of what happened in the situation. Because everybody's so sensationalized these days and so used to only getting one side of a story, now when you try to be in the middle, you become the enemy. And this is where we're at right now. And I'm telling you all that to tell you this. You got to be wise enough to resist the pull of going hard, black or white, in a situation. Going hard and saying, well, this side is 100% wrong or 100% right, because that's not the way life is. Life is never like that. Like I told you a moment ago, the truth is rarely sexy. The truth is messy because it's a little bit of everything kind of mixed in, and that's how we get the full picture. I mean, do you know any human being who is 100% perfect and everything about them is right? If you think that, just get to know them a little bit better and you'll probably change your mind. Do you know any person who's 100% wrong? Everything about them is just absolutely wrong. If you got to know them a little bit better, you're probably not interested in doing that because you think that about the person. But if you did, you will learn that they're probably not as wrong as you think they are. And you probably have more in common with them than you think they do. And the reason why you're not open to that right now, some of you are listening to me right now like, Dre, I'm not even interested in what you're talking about right here. The reason why you're thinking that way is because you have been properly indoctrinated and socialized and conditioned to believe that the side that you believe in, or the idea that you believe, or the group that you identify with, everything about them is correct. And the group that you don't identify with, or the group that you have decided to be against, everything about them is wrong. But that's not actually the truth. That's not actually true. If you were willing to open your mind and open your eyes and your ears and actually see what's really going on, you realize that there are a lot of faults in the side that you agree with, and there are also a lot of positive traits in the side that you disagree with, or the idea that you disagree with, or the person with whom you disagree. But you got to be open-minded enough and objective enough to be willing to see it, let alone will you be able to see it, but you got to be willing to look. You got to be willing to listen. You got to be willing to pay attention to even see what these things are and what's being said. And unfortunately, the mass media, and again, this could be news media, social media, all of them, is not helping with this. All they're doing is pushing people to extreme sides. Now, why would they do this? The reason why they do this is because when people are on extremes and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum going back and forth with each other, they're highly emotionalized. And when people are highly emotionalized, you know what they do? They keep paying attention to the thing that is triggering their emotions. If that means hopping on Twitter, then they keep hopping on Twitter. If that means going on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is, watching CNN or reading the New York Times or watching Fox, whatever it is that is triggering that emotion, people will keep going to that thing that triggers the emotion. And when they keep going back to that thing, all these platforms and all these companies and these news media establishments, they just keep making money because you keep coming back. Eyeballs, people get paid off eyeballs, right? People get paid off views, clicks, likes, engagement, comments, etc., etc. So whatever they got to do to draw more of that, to drive more of it, they just keep doing it. Even if it means polarizing everybody and getting everybody going against each other, they'll keep doing it because that's what drives their business forward. Even though they're driving people apart, it drives business forward. And this is the game that's being played right now in the wider media. And again, I'm not just talking about the news like ABC and NBC, social media as well. And that's all of us individually, the things that we go out there and say. This is part of the game too, because the reason why the news companies have to do what they do now is because they're competing against social media to get your attention. The only way they can get your attention is they have to be more triggering. They got to be more entertaining. They got to get your eyes better than Twitter or TikTok or YouTube gets your attention. Now, how is the news going to compete with Instagram? Well, I'll tell you how. They give you an emotionalized, polarizing story. They can't just tell you the truth because that'd be so boring you wouldn't pay attention. So they give you an emotionalized, polarized version of the story, and that'll get you away from Instagram long enough to watch them, and that's how they make their money, and that's how their news anchors keep their jobs. This is the whole game that's being played these days. And I'm not even railing against the game. I'm not even saying this because of something. I don't think the game is good, but it's not that I'm trying to destroy the game. I'm not raging against the machine here. I'm pointing this stuff out to you so that you can understand the game. My whole company and whole philosophy is called Work on Your Game, right? So one of the things that I do, and what we do here at Work on Your Game, is we recognize what the game is. It's not even that we're trying to stop the game, or we're trying to shut the game down, or we're mad at the game. No. As they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. We don't even hate the game. Don't hate the players, don't hate the game. Just learn what the game is. Identify the game. The reason why you got to identify the game is so you're not the one. Oh, shit. These people just coming to a stop in the middle of the highway. But anyway, the reason why you want to identify what the game is so you're not the one getting played by the game. As they say in poker, if you've been sitting at the table for 20 minutes and you don't know who the sucker is, that means you're the sucker. So know what the game is, know how the game is being played so that you know when they're trying to run the game on you so that you don't get yourself played. You can recognize it, appreciate it for what it is, but make sure you don't get caught up in the whirlwind of the game. Make sure they're not using you. You use the game, don't let the game use you. All that being said, down below, make sure you go get your copy of the Mirror Motivation, start the Bulletproof Mindset course, and send me a text Tell me the most valuable insight that you heard from what I just said in this video. My number is 305-384-6894. Again, 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.